All right, guys, so we're here at Zephyr, Texas at Local Cuts, and we're using them to process our beef this year that we're selling to you as consumers. And one of the number one questions we get is, you know, do I get to choose how the meat's going to be processed? Are you going to do that for me? So the way we sell our beef, you're basically buying a live animal from me, and I'm going to deliver it here. These guys are going to do the processing, but they're going to process them according to the way you want your steer or your whole or your half of a beef processed. So the way that works is you're going to get a cut sheet, and this is all across the nation. This is the way it works. If you take your steer or your hog or your lamb to a processor, you're going to have to fill out a cut sheet that determines the way you want your animal processed. So today I thought we would just go down it, and we're going to keep one of these steers out here, a half of one of them. So we're just going to go down this list with Monica here from Local Cuts.
Hello.
And we're going to fill it out the way our family chooses to have ours processed. And then we're going to kind of go down this list. This is their kind of standard processing, the way they would do it if somebody just dropped it off and said, hey, I've never been here before, you just take care of it. This is the way they would do it. So without further ado, let's get into it and get started. So.
So I'm right here, bar 7, and then this is for Cody. And you are doing a half?
We're going to do a half.
All right. And then, so we'll just go down the cut sheet on variety meat. So you want your liver, heart, oxtail, tongue, cheek meat?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll circle all of those. And so brisket, you can do whole, split, half, or grind. On a half a cow, you get 1 brisket if you do whole. If you do split or half, you'll get 2 on a half.
Okay.
Or if you don't want it, it goes to your ground beef.
All right. Now, what's the difference between splitting a brisket and halving a brisket?
So a split is a vertical cut and a half is a horizontal cut. So if you do split each side, I can take it over here.
Let's go to the meat counter right now.
This would be a whole off of the half. So you'll get 1 big one off of the half. So if you do...
Let me, hang on a sec. So when we're looking at this, when you're looking at a steer, this is the front of his brisket. So this is what's right between his front legs. It's sitting in here like this, right? And so on each side of his, basically the front of his rib cage there, you have what's called your brisket, one on each side. So when you split that steer down the middle and half him, there's a brisket for each side. So what we're deciding is, okay, on our half of the steer, we're going to get a brisket like this. Now, we don't smoke, so we don't want a brisket this big. This is pretty hard to cook unless you're a professional smoker or you just really enjoy it. So what Monica's telling us is you can either half it, which would be a vertical cut like this, correct?
So if you look at it like this, like that. So half would be like that, so horizontal.
Okay.
And then split is vertical, so each one has a point and a flat. So then you'll get 2 points and a flat.
So what do you suggest? What do you think is the best way to cut it? How would y'all cut it on the standard cut sheet? You just get a whole brisket?
We usually do a whole.
Okay.
Because most of the people that we have do it for like parties and stuff. But I always recommend a split just because you get 2 even cuts basically. So you get the point and the flat.
I agree. So let's go with the split brisket.
Okay.
That's not what you would have done?
No.
Because you would have done...
I would have done halved it.
Flip it around. Because I know why.
Because it looks better, like 2 big rectangles.
It fits better in a crock pot if you half it that way. But to me, you can still, if you decide you want to smoke it, you get a more like a regular brisket. Or when you go to put it in the crock pot, when you just cut it in half and lay both pieces in there. And
Are you
still
planning on buying the smoker?
Yeah, I'm planning on
okay.
it. So.
I know, it's a lot of effort. So we're going to split it?
Split it, yes.
Okay. So then you have flank and skirt. Those are your fajita meat. And you can do whole, half, or grind. And the reason we have half is because the flank is like a long sheet, and so the skirt. And so we fold it up in half usually. So we just put a half option on there. Because they're usually like longer pieces.
So I'm good with that. Halving it.
Okay. So, or we do have an option of seasoned fajita meat. Like we already cut it up and then season it and pack it like that. It's delicious like that.
Okay. So I don't think we want to do the seasoned fajita meat just because the carnivore, the way we eat on carnivore, we don't use many spices and stuff like that. So just salt and pepper. So we'll just stay this away for now.
Okay. And then do you want to tenderize it? Most people don't. They just tenderize that at home.
And for tenderizing, it's what, at like 50 cents a pound extra?
50 cents a pound extra.
And
yes.
normally, how many pounds of flank and
half?
skirt on a half, roughly?
Maybe 6. About
So it costs you $3 to tenderize it,
Mhm.
and then it's,
mechanically tenderized.
yeah.
Yeah.
I say let's go ahead and do it.
Okay.
What do you say?
She wants to tenderize it.
No, I
herself.
don't. I don't want to. I don't know.
She's
You don't want it tenderized?
She doesn't even want flank and skirt.
I mean, you don't tenderize your fajita meat. Like, I don't tenderize my
Then
fajita
no-
meat before I
no,
cook
no
it.
tenderization.
Okay. And then tri-tip. Do you do whole or grind? Most people do grind just because they don't know what to do with a tri-tip. It's something you want to smoke also.
Okay.
Try to smoke it.
Well, so
We
what-
said we weren't going to grind everything.
So, it's just a little bitty triangle.
So that's even something, if you didn't smoke it on your smoker, you could just throw that in your crock pot and it'd be like a roast or a,
A lot of people cut it up for like stew meat, so it'd be perfect for that.
so yeah, we're gonna do that. I love the packaging. Ours is gonna have a
Y'all's logo.
Bar 7 Ranch, Keep Ranching logo right there, so awesome. So keep that in mind that we're not, I need you to keep me on track that we're not gonna just,
I love the fact that that'll keep it good for 2 years.
yeah.
People always ask that, like, how
Right.
if we don't eat that in a year, how long is it good for?
Okay, so whole, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then so you can either do T-bone or New York strip and tenderloin fillet.
Right, so
New York.
so keep in mind that when you look at a T-bone, y'all don't have any in
No,
there, do you?
but I have
No.
tenderloin, so I always
Do you
draw
have a
it
picture?
out.
Yeah.
Just draw it. So that you have your T-bone right here. Here's the top bone, the bottom bone. The smaller side, it's probably like that. That's your tenderloin, and this is your New York strip.
So you can either get your bone in, which will make your T-bone, or they can trim the bone out for you, and then you'll get fillets and New York strips. So that's really just personal preference. The last steer we butchered earlier this year, we had the fillets and the strips cut out. But I think let's leave them in here this year. That way we can
All right.
got something to feed the dogs, right? You don't want?
Okay.
you- if
No,
you
that's
don't want
fine.
it-
That's fine.
Yeah. So let's go that
Do
way.
something different.
Okay, so we do 1.25 inch for all of our retail cuts. I don't have a steak in there, but 1.25 inch is what most people do. You
I
can
agree.
choose anything from 3/4 to 2 inches.
So here, when you do a custom cut sheet, you get to decide how you want it cut, meaning do you want the bone in or the bone out, and then you also get to decide the thickness of your steaks that you have cut and how many you want in a package. So we're going to go with a standard 1.25 inch.
And then T-bone, I always just put one in a pack because they're so big.
Okay, and there's no additional charge if you want one or if you want 4 in a package, right? It's
Correct.
the same price.
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yep.
So, or at least here, I don't know what it is at your place, but that's the way we're doing it here.
All right, and so then we won't do those. So ribeye, bone in or boneless?
What do you want?
We've always got boneless.
We've always gotten boneless, but I've been eating the bone-in ones at the restaurants when we go eat out now. So
Yeah.
We do bone in for retail. I think they're pretty.
pretty, maybe adds a little bit of flavor with that bone in there.
I think so.
Try it.
So,
Yeah.
let's do it. Yeah, bone in.
All right, and then
Inch and a quarter, I think so.
and 1 or 2 per pack.
Let's do 2.
Okay, and then
Do we want 2 or do we want 1?
We're never gonna. I mean,
I mean,
usually both
sometimes
the
it's just
kids.
the 3 of us, and we might want to cook 3 instead of 4. But 2 in a package is fine.
We always need lunch the next day. So
yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Okay, so sirloin, bone in or boneless? So if you do boneless sirloin, I can still get you a little bit of tenderloin.
If you said bone in or
If you do boneless.
boneless, I think let's do boneless because those.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, y'all are going to think I'm exaggerating because you don't see these in the grocery store, but these sirloins are going to be every bit as big as this clipboard on these steers. I promise you, and I'll show you when we get him back.
Can you
But,
turn that back over again?
oh, sorry, they don't have nobody's address.
It has ours on it.
Oh,
I mean, I had it in the first half of the video, so whatever.
but
Okay, so 1.25 inch on it as well? Or
yes,
do you want to? Okay, and then that's just gonna be 1 per
let's
pack
do
because they're
4
so
in a
big.
packet. No, I'm just kidding.
So I'm gonna add tenderloin right here, just because whenever you do a boneless sirloin, you can get some tenderloin,
Okay,
and I'm gonna do 8 ounce and 2 per pack,
okay,
just because they're always better 2 per pack.
sounds great.
All right. Then picanha, that is going to be attached to your sirloin if you don't want it. That's what they serve on the skewers at the Brazilian steakhouses.
Right.
This is
So-
what we've been looking forward to.
So we don't, I think a lot of people, I've never seen picanha offered at the places that we've processed in the past. And I think one of the things is most people have never cooked it or don't know how to cook it. So that's part of this journey is learning to cook cuts that you're not used to cooking. So we want to go ahead and get the picanha because when we do go to a Brazilian steakhouse, that's one of our favorite, I mean, that's mine and Erica's favorite cut of meat when they bring it around. So.
Okay, perfect.
And we do have on our grill now, we've got a roaster function where we can
so-
stick it on there, rotisserie, and let it.
I love picanha.
How
So-
do you cook it?
Yeah, do you cook it?
So we actually cooked one up here, smoked it in our smoker. Cassidy and I did, and it was delicious. If I get it on mine, it's called filet, and it's just cut into it's steaks, cut at
Okay.
an inch and a quarter. They're almost the size of a New York strip.
So is that the way you're going to do this one? Cut
So
an inch and a quarter.
it's up to you if you want to do it. I was going to ask you, do you want it whole or cut?
I prefer
into
let's cut it
steaks.
inch and a quarter.
Yeah.
That way it's just
So
like
that way
little-
it's already done. You
Yeah,
can just throw it on the grill.
I like that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Because the appeal at the steakhouses is you get it however whatever doneness you want. And
Yeah.
that's just because they got it real close to the fire and the outside cooks a little quicker. They shave a little off and stick it back on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go that route.
And then 2 per pack.
Sure.
Okay. And then short ribs, you can do 4 bone, 5 bone, or grind it.
Let's do 5 bone.
Okay.
Again, normally we don't get the short ribs because we have it ground into hamburger, but we've tried those a couple of times and they weren't very good from the grocery store, but I think they're going to be good here. So
Yep.
we're going to try that.
Perfect. And then Dino ribs. Those are your big, huge plate ribs.
Put them on there.
All right. All right. And then
That's one of the, like, what will a set of those Dinos, how
so
big?
if you do them whole, like the whole 7 bone, I mean they're like 15 pounds. They're huge.
So can you cut that into thirds?
Yeah, I can do like 2 bone, 3 bone, however you want to do it.
So
I would do
3
I'd probably
bones?
do 3 bone. Yeah, because you don't want a whole one because they're huge and you don't have room in the freezer for it.
3 bones would probably feed 2 or 3 people one meal.
Easy. Yeah, they're.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big. They're really big.
And then you got bones left off to throw to the dogs. So
All right, and then chuck steak, chuck roast, or grind. I love chuck roast.
well, we end up with a lot of roast. We use a lot of roast, but I mean the steaks, if you just cook them like a regular steak, are they going to be?
Yeah, they're good. So the chuck eye steak is really good. It's your poor man ribeye.
Give us
Is that
that.
eye? Okay. 1 and a quarter,
Inch and a quarter,
and then 2.
2 in a package. Yep.
Perfect. All right, and then arm. So you can actually do your flat iron steak, which is my most favorite steak now, and your
More than a
arm roast.
ribeye or a T-bone?
Yes. Actually, so it goes tenderloin and then flat iron. I love flat iron.
Well, let's try them.
Okay. They just pull off at 1 inch, so
Okay.
you won't be disappointed. And then you can still do the arm roast. Also.
Okay.
And you can do bone in or boneless.
I say, how big will that roast be?
So, over at the meat counter again. Those are 3-pound roast right here.
Hang on until she gets over.
So this is 3 pound. Well, it's about a 3.5 pound. But that's a chuck roast. But we usually tell people that size because it fits perfect into.
But it'll have a bone in it.
Hold it up so
Well,
I
you
can
can do
see
bone
it.
in or boneless. I always tell people boneless. I don't like bone in that part.
How come?
I just don't. I don't like eating around one. But
Alright.
a lot of people think it adds flavor. So, or you have something for your dogs.
Well, you have something for the dogs.
Yeah.
I mean,
He doesn't even like the dogs. I don't know why he's so worried about the dogs.
well, I'm just thinking, I mean, because if you trim the bone out, well, then you're going to have a little more trim that's going to get thrown more in the hamburger, and you're going to have more
The
hamburger.
bone doesn't bother me because I usually put it in the crock pot and it just falls off anyways, so it's not that
That's
big
the way
a
we
deal.
cook a roast, is just in
Right.
the crock pot.
Yeah.
It's just going to, when it's done, it's just going to pull right out of it, no problem. So I say let's leave the bone in.
All right. And so 3 pound.
3 pounds, yes,
All right.
ma'am. So far in our processing on our cut sheet, we haven't got to anything that we're paying extra to have done. It's all just the standard processing.
All right. So now on your round, you can do round roast, round steak, or cutlets, which are your round steaks tenderized 3 times, and for like chicken fried steak. So you want those.
Right. Can we do a portion of it in round steak?
Not tenderized.
when you cook these round steaks, are they just like cooking
So-
a regular steak?
Yeah, rounds
they gonna be
rounds
tough,
are
or-
tough. Rounds are pretty tough. So most of the time, whenever I suggest people do a round, I tell them to tenderize it. Some people will do round steak to take it home and do jerky with it.
No, we're not gonna make jerky.
I mean, cutlets, those are for your chicken fried steak. Round roast, you know, you can never go wrong with a roast. But
What do you think? We want it into a roast, or do you
Yeah.
want it in the cutlets? We haven't made those lately because we don't smother them in Worcestershire anymore.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah, and you're on that.
and we don't chicken.
I mean,
fry
we
them.
could fry them in butter in a frying pan.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Do you have? We probably still have some chicken fried steak in the freezer right now, right?
Yeah.
Let's go with the roast. Let's make it a roast this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
3-pound.
We'll be
bone
back in 6 months. I mean,
We eat
that's-
a lot of roast, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you have your rump roast. You can either have it or grind it for hamburger.
rump roast. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Bone in 3-pound. Okay. So shank, that is like from your elbow to your wrist, kind of. And you can do it whole, slice, or grind. It's also where people get like the Thor's hammer. I don't know if you've seen that, like big old bone with a big thing of meat on it.
I don't know how I would ever cook that. So
Crock pot. Or not crock pot, but in the oven. I've seen it. They do
Oh, in
potatoes
a-
and carrots around it. Yeah.
like you stand it up. in
Oh,
there or something.
yeah.
Yeah, they.
Now
so
that you
do-
say that,
you
yeah.
do the
I mean, there's
meat,
only
and
gonna
then
be
the
one of
bone
those,
comes up. 2. So you'll have your foreshank and your hind shank.
Well, let's do those.
You want to do that?
Sure. We're going all out. We're
We're
just
going
gonna
all
do some stuff.
These
Now,
are a
what
little
about
fancy.
have we got to the canoes?
Not yet. That's the
Okay.
next one, actually. Well,
Alright.
so if you do canoe, then you can't do a Thor's hammer. So you can do a hind shank of that, and then canoes on the foreshank. So that's going to be like your femur bones, and that is your canoe bones or your Thor's hammer.
So the
it comes
canoe
all from
bone
the
is
same
where
area.
they take the bone, split it in half. Is that right? Then when you cook it, it's got the marrow in there that you cook, and it kind of comes out like a jelly consistency. Would that be a?
Have you ever ate it?
No.
Okay.
Whenever people, he has. Mike's like, yes.
Yeah.
We have people ask for it all the time.
Yeah.
But you just roast it in the oven.
Right.
You can
Scoop it out
also
and
cut
eat
it like osso buco.
Mhm.
Again, that's more of a restaurant cut where the marrow is in the middle.
I have
and
one in
you've
the
got-
freezer.
Huh?
I have one in the freezer.
Yeah.
So it's the meat and then the bone around it with the marrow.
So it looks like a donut.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a donut.
So this is,
Oh.
yeah, so you have your meat right here, and then this is your femur bones.
So is this a fore and a rear?
Yes.
So this is the front leg, and this is the back leg.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. It just, it's fatter and then it gets narrower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Is that two different? That's two pieces, though, right?
right.
two
Yeah, that's
pieces.
2 pieces. So
Yeah.
these are 1.25 inches and then 2 of them.
Yeah.
But so that's your marrow and then your bone.
Like
and
I
then the
said, it's a
meat.
restaurant cut.
And if you cook
So-
that like a regular steak, well, it'll be tender and.
Yeah. So one of the things that a lot of people will do is braise it, and then they'll put it in some sort of sauce. Okay.
Cook it.
What do you think? You want to try it, or
Why not?
let's try it once?
Okay.
If you don't like it, I guess you could always just throw it in the crock pot and make roast out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. So we're not going to do Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do Osso buco at 1.25 inches. And then 2 per pack, like that one? Just like
Yep,
that?
I think so.
Perfect. So you can still get a few soup bones. I'll take away mostly your marrow bones, but you'll still have some other bones if you want any of those.
Do you want soup bones or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I usually tell people just to do 10 because we'll have people that ask for all of them, but it's 75 cents extra, and nobody wants to fill up their whole freezer with a whole bunch
Right.
of bones.
Okay.
So
And do y'all package those like in?
we usually do 2-pound packs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 5-pound. It just depends.
I think
So-
2 pound.
Now, for those people that are interested in bone broth, okay, then you use your marrow bones and your knuckle bones. Okay, that's how your bone broth comes.
Okay.
Okay, that's how it's generated.
Right. I
From,
haven't done that yet, but I want to do that.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna write knuckle and then any other extra. So I'm gonna make sure we get the knuckle bones and then extra like rib bones or something, which are mostly using rib bones, but you'll have neck bones and stuff too. So, and then stew meat,
Yes.
like 10 pounds probably. That's what most people do for a half, but that's totally.
I don't know. We've been cooking those as
It's
like
an
little
extra
steak
charge,
bites.
too.
So, like, how much do you?
It's 75 cents extra.
But how many pounds of stew meat What are we? Where are we going to lose something at when we get the stew meat?
So since you're doing most of the cuts, it'll come from like just the leftover pieces that would go into your ground beef. So we'll just trim up some of that. Or the like you aren't doing anything with the sirloin tip, so that will go.
What else could we do with the sirloin tips? Nothing really.
I usually just tell people to do meat out of it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say at least 15 pounds of stew meat, wouldn't you? If there's that much left.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Or 20,
there'll
maybe 20.
There'll definitely
Yeah.
be that much left.
Yeah.
So
Probably
we can
20.
do 1 or
Okay.
2 pound packs.
I would say 2 pound packs.
I think that's what we have now.
Perfect. All right,
And then 20 pounds. Let's do 20 pounds of
20
it.
pounds.
Yeah, that'd be 10 packages, right?
Yes. All right. So then you can do hamburger patties also. I skipped ground beef because I asked about hamburger patties first. You can do 1/3 pound or 1/2 pound, and they're extra charge, but they're super convenient to have.
So we, in the past, for the last 4 or 5 years, we have had every bit of our hamburger put into patties because the other processor that we use, they either offered chubs or patties, and that was it. And we've always done the 1/3 pound patties, 4 in a package. And I want to do that too, but I want to do half of our hamburger in patties, and the other half in.
In vacuum pack.
Would you rather have the vacuum packed? It's the same cost to vacuum pack it or to patty it, right?
Right, correct. It's 50 cents extra for both. And I always
50 cents a
recommend-
pound, right?
Yes, 50 cents a pound. Yeah. And
So-
I always recommend vacuum pack over the free chubs.
So I think let's do half in 1/3
Yeah.
pound patties and half in
Yeah.
So this is
in the
what
bricks
I'll
there.
do.
And that way we'll at least have it to show when we talk about it too.
Okay.
We'll have
So perfect.
Each
And that's how
example.
I'll do it right there. You want to see? I'll show you what the back. Y'all want to see what the backpack looks like and how it's.
Sure. Do you have a chub here? Can I get a
I can go pull a chub from the back real quick.
Yeah.
There's none in there. Mike will grab one.
Okay.
So that way you can show the difference of how like.
Because this is going to
just
stack
so
a whole
much-
lot better
yeah.
in here.
And it doesn't drip blood whenever you take it to defrost it. That's my favorite part. And this will last for like 2+ years.
Yeah.
How long will the chub last?
We usually just say a year on
A
those.
year?
Yeah.
So
Just 'cause
what
they're
about-
not vacuum tied?
And what about the patties? Are they
The
packed?
patties are the same, so I have some right here. I just moved these over.
So they
these are 1/2 pound patties, so I only did 2 per pack, but
Okay.
you can see where they're separated.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so there's 2 in that one.
Okay.
And then see, these are 1/2 pound.
Gotcha.
Awesome. There you go.
So those are the chubs. Do you want that?
We'll just stick it up here next to this one. So what we've been talking about here is chubs versus the vacuum packed beef versus hamburger patties. Will you grab us a package of the hamburger patties, Monica? So this is what most everybody's used to seeing if you've bought freezer beef before. This used to be the only way it came, it's just in a chub. This is a 1 pound chub, you can get them in a 1.5, 2 pound. And these are fine except for they're not vacuum sealed because it just runs in there and then it's got the whatever kind of closure they're using. We've seen this tape. Some of them put a metal ring on it to clamp it off. The problem with this is it takes a while for this to thaw out because it's this big around as compared to this thick. This will thaw considerably quicker. Also, if you ever stacked 200 or 300 of these in a freezer, they're sliding out every time you open the door. They're just falling on the ground. They're not any fun to deal with. And when you go to thawing them out, as they thaw, blood starts to leak out of them. If you try to throw them in water to thaw, water's getting in there and getting on your meat. So that's why we chose to go with the vacuum pack, because when this is hard frozen, you can stack 10 of those up on top of each other and they're not going to fall over. They're going to thaw really quick. They're going to be sealed up good. So that's why we're choosing this. And then who doesn't want a hamburger patty ready to cook? You thaw it out and you've already got them made. You just throw them on the grill and cook them. So we're going to get half of our meat in 1/3 pound hamburger patties, half of our ground beef, and then the other half in the vacuum packed bricks is what I'm going to call them. I don't know what y'all call them, but as compared to going with the chubs. It's a little bit of an upcharge, but the convenience for Erica or I cooking it and the stackability is worth that extra cost to us.
The other thing I would say from a quality standpoint, the chubs, I wouldn't want to keep those past 6 months. Okay, because air does get into the meat, and you're gonna experience freezer burn. Here, you're not gonna experience that at all. Like I say, you can actually that can stay in your freezer up to 2 years.
So storage is a big concern too. For us, I mean, we're going to go through all of this meat in 6 months to a year. So, but if you're not going through it as quick as us, I mean, that's something to keep in mind is that nobody wants freezer burned beef. So keep that in mind when you go to doing your cut sheet. So.
Go ahead, Cody.
So Eric, I didn't even know this was something that was offered, but Erica asked about beef bacon, and Monica said, "Yeah, we can do that." There's a $2.50 charge. I guess that's for the curing and
Yes, and the extra process.
slicing and all that. So it comes from the navel area on the steer. So we're going to give that a try.
And so we have it's cured or uncured. Cured has nitrates in it and preservatives, and the uncured it still smokes and it's cured, but it's natural preservatives with celery
That's
juice
what we
powder.
want.
And I was going to say you guys probably
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah, let's go with the natural. And then y'all put that in 1 pound or
So we usually try to. It's easier for us to do. I have some I can show y'all. So we usually do 10 slices per pack.
Okay.
I mean, we can do 10 or 20 versus pound wise, but
what do you say, 20?
I mean, we are going to cook at least 20 at once, but
Yeah, let's just do a 20 in a package.
okay.
And about how many pounds or I mean, what would you say off of a
Like 8 to 10 pounds. So it does cook down. It gets smaller. So
Right,
about
but-
8 to 10 pounds.
so it'd be like getting 8 or 10 pounds of bacon at the grocery store? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So let's see, by the time you've paid for the calf and the processing and all that, in a pound of that bacon, you're going to have about, well, close to $6 probably. What does bacon cost by the pound at the grocery store?
no idea. I don't look at that.
Quite a bit. I think like
12 to 15
Not- yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're disconnected from.
I just buy the bacon. I don't know.
Don't even know what it costs
There's
anymore.
no point in
Don't
looking.
even.
We have to
down
eat
on
it. I don't know.
But yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yep. And then so we have a whole list of sausages and stuff. It's all beef, nothing added. So.
Okay. One question I did have on the hamburger.
Yes.
Is it a 80-20,
So
70-30?
So you can pick, usually everything that we usually do, we try to do at 80-20, unless you want to do 90-10.
Okay. 80-20 for sure
Okay.
for us.
Okay.
And if you don't understand what that means it's 80% beef, 20% fat. And this fat here is going to come from the areas of the steer where they got their fat deposits, because a lot of this trim is going to be lean. It's not going to have much fat in it. I mean, no matter whether he's a prime or a choice steer, there's areas of him that are going to not have as much intermuscular marbling because that's just the way they're built. So you're going to add that fat back in there into the grind. And the thing about that is, guys, is if you really want that juicy hamburger, that flavorful hamburger meat, fat is where that flavor comes from. So you want to add that fat in there. You want that 80-20. So
Another thing
My
that
personal
we do
opinion.
offer is Primal ground beef. It's your ground beef with heart, liver, and kidney in it. It's an upcharge of 75 cents, but
We
with
need
all,
that.
I mean, like with that,
That's a superfood.
it's pretty delicious.
And for
And we have more and
families-
more people asking for it right now, especially like
We're supposed to be eating all
CrossFitters
that
and-
stuff,
yeah,
Cody.
It's delicious.
And for families, with little kids where they're
My kids
need
actually
some
love
more
it.
better than regular hamburger?
They don't.
They don't know
They
the
don't really
difference.
know the difference. To me, it just
Yeah.
tastes like you almost drop like a beef boy in it. It's richer. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's do
that.
it.
So that means we'll lose the.
Just the liver, heart, and kidney. So we'll use that in the Primal ground beef.
You better
And
watch out.
it'll be labeled Primal ground.
You're going to be
so it's
liver, heart, and
Yes.
kidney.
It'll be labeled completely different too. It'll say
Okay.
Primal ground beef on it.
Okay.
And usually what we do is like 20 to 25 pounds of it.
Okay.
So you want to just try like 20 pounds of it?
Let's do 20 pounds to start with.
Okay.
You may not like it.
I'm
You
going to
didn't
love
like
it.
liver when
I'm
you-
going to love I did like liver.
I don't like liver and
I
heart.
grew up eating liver.
I don't like
Okay.
any of that, but this I like the.
I don't really know why
ground beef.
anybody want to eat the liver. It's like the oil filter of a
Well, this
cat.
way it's going to be all ground in and you're not even going to know it.
So is it ground with other, just regular ground
It's out
beef in
of
there?
trim.
Yep.
It's not only heart and only.
Right, so we'll
No.
pull like 20, it's a 80-20 blend also.
Okay.
So we'll pull like 20 pounds
20 pounds.
of your trim and then 4 pounds of heart, liver, kidney and put in there with it.
Okay.
See, that's not bad.
Let's try it. Try it, see what. we
It's
can
like
try.
grinding up your
Yeah.
carrots and stuff and putting into chicken nuggets. They don't even know it's there.
There you go.
You don't. That's what people do to
Yeah,
trick their
it's
kids
delicious.
to eat vegetables.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then something else we're going to try is here at Local Cuts, they offer like beef sausages, like snack sticks and things like that. So just in an effort to save, normally we'll have 7 or 8 pounds of jerky made. So y'all don't offer jerky here yet, right?
No. Is it dry beef?
It's called fully cooked dried beef.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. It needs to be refrigerated. It needs to stay
Okay.
refrigerated.
I like that better, anyways.
So we're gonna let's go down the sausage options, I guess.
So it all is a 25-pound minimum. So like that's per sausage order. So
Okay.
so we can't just do like 5, 10, 10.
Okay.
You know. So it has to be 25 pounds.
Of one thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So whenever you're doing a half, you might only just want to do one type of sausage just because it's going to pull from your regular ground beef. Or, you know, just so people know, it will pull from your regular ground beef.
Okay.
But so we have fresh sausages. So it's a mild breakfast sausage, breakfast links, and Italian links. And then you have all your smoked sausage. We have summer sausage, jalapeno cheese summer, spicy pepper jack summer. And then we have German, spicy jalapeno cheese German. And then we also have a pepper jack German. It's not on here. And then snack sticks, spicy snack sticks, and there's a pepper jack snack sticks. And then, so all these have red dyes and nitrates, but this is classic, and none of this will have red dye and nitrates in it. So this is all celery juice powder, beet powder, like all
Gotcha.
natural
Yeah.
ingredients.
So my suggestion would be, do you have a selection of some of these here in the counter that we could buy today and try?
So we have all the ones at the top, not the classic. Mike has a few of the classic in the freezer that are frozen.
Okay.
So
But
that's
there probably won't be much flavor difference between the classic and the
not much, no.
This one.
I think the classic has a lot of flavor to it. They're pretty good.
I mean, before we get 25 pounds of something, you might want to try
Yeah, we always
Okay.
have them in our retail counter.
one or two of from the retail counter, because keep in mind, guys, that when you drop off or you fill out your cut sheet, more than likely there's going to be at least about a 2-week time frame before your calf's going to be processed into the retail cuts from the time he's dropped off, because most facilities are going to hang for 14 days or maybe a few more depending on what you want. But so you have if you come someplace and you're like, hey, I'd really like to have this, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like the flavor. Before you spend, at $5 for 25 pounds is $125. You might want to buy a $5 package of that sausage out of the deal and try it and say, oh, I love this. Yeah, go ahead. Or, I like it, but I don't like it, $125 worth. Let's just go ahead and put it in the hamburger.
And this will add a week also to your processing time.
Okay.
So that, that's also something to keep in mind. is this
Just
will
for the
add
extra
time. Yeah, for the
smoking in
extra
it.
milk.
So, okay. So we'll call you on this and let you know
Perfect.
what we want to do there.
Alrighty. So there we go.
All right, guys. So there it is. I know this may have been long, but we wanted to be thorough so that you guys understand what it's like to fill out a custom cut sheet at your processor. So thank you to Monica, to Mike, Miss Pam. She might have already gone home. I don't know, but we thank y'all for watching. And as always, y'all keep ranching, wrenching, and praying, and we'll see y'all next time.